Good morning. Welcome to Winnipeg. Now, I did come back to the model table last night, but we're not going to have a rollback. Did not have record pressed, but I spent quite a bit of time here. And what I was doing was I was nipping up all that, almost all of that sprue into little granules, you might say. Sort of like the plastic pellets that they use, I think, in manufacturing these model kits. I think the plastic comes in little pellets that look much like this, but I could be wrong. Anyway, what's happening here? Well, this morning I went downstairs to the workshop and I brought up some of what we're going to need to make the sprue pen. I got the different dyes. I haven't decided yet whether it's going to be clear. I don't think it's going to be clear. I think I'm going to probably use black or dark green because I want whatever I use, I want to be a real contrast to what this sprue is. Otherwise, you're not going to see the pieces in the pen. Like this pen here, for instance. It's made up of acrylic, and now we've got a bit of a problem that I don't know how it's going to go, and that is this stuff is plastic, and it has a very you might say the melting point is quite low, and when I'm turning it on the lathe, it generates heat. In fact, when I'm working with the chisel, and I use a scraper, and when I'm using the scraper and the shavings are coming off of the part that I'm turning, and they're brushing on my hand, I can actually feel the heat that's been generated on those shavings. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. What I've got going on here, I'm just going to recompose and show you. I brought up a couple of the different molds that I made up, and I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about this, but I'm curious. I haven't tried it yet. I just want to make sure that I've got enough to fill this, because there's enough in here to make one pen like this, or what happened to the other one? Or two like this. Okay, let's recompose, and I'm pretty sure there's enough here to basically fill this. Yeah, just hang on. Now I'll bet you that there's somebody out there right now watching that was thinking to themselves, why didn't he push the red button on his new camera remote? And the answer to that is really simple. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Okay, now my plan here is to just do a little bit on this sprue pen every day. Well, almost every day, until I get sick of it or don't feel like doing it anymore. Now, these molds I made up myself. I poured them in some kind of special kind of rubber. It's a two-part thing. You use you mix a hardener with it, and you end up with this nice pliable rubber, and it works really good for a mold. And I'd forgotten I'd made this smaller one. Now, what this smaller one is first of all, you see this sort of very crude funnel type thing. Well, what that is for is so that I can fasten it on the top of the mold, and then when I put everything in the vacuum chamber and the air bubbles up out of it, instead of flowing over and down into the bottom of the pressure pot, it will just come up into the side, and then when the pressure goes back on, it just all funnels back down instead of making a mess. And I had forgotten about this little one. It's sort of a single unit, and what happens is here, I'm just going to take this off. Okay, what happens here is that when I take this off, I know that the top is green, but I don't know what the rest is, because what I was doing was the extra material that I'd mixed up I just poured it into here and it just built up and built up. So just for the fun of it, let's just see if we can take this apart and get it out. Okay, it looks like there's 2 shades of blue and green. I could probably make 2 blanks out of that. I could cut it down right down the middle, but I probably won't bother. Either that, or what I could do is I could cut it diagonally. That'd be kind of interesting too. But I probably will never use this. So, all right. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about that. Gee, this is starting to take me back. Maybe we'll have to. I'm going to scrap the model ship and go back down to the workshop. No, I'm not. Okay, so we were going to check and see if I have enough granules mixed up here. You know, I really should. I think they call it winnowing. There's a lot of, you might call it chaff in here, and I should really winnow that out. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, it's gonna be enough, I think. I want to be able to fill it right up. Oh yeah, I don't need to pour any more in. I can see that there's. Make sure they're all going to be shaken down, and then what I would do is I would pour the molten not molten but the liquid 2-part acrylic in there when it's in liquid state, of course. And yeah, that should. I think this is going to work. Yeah, at least that's the plan. Now, one more thing. You will recall my paint shaker that right now is sitting on the kitchen table. Well, I originally made that paint shaker to shake up these little bottles. I had no idea that I was going to 3 or 4 years later be using it to mix, Tamiya paint bottles. Anyway. Now, up until just a few moments ago, I was wondering, what are these pieces, the F3 and the F4? They just didn't make any sense. I was looking at the positioning pin on the bottom, or on the one end of these things after you nip them off, and the positioning pins seemed to be at a bit of an angle. So then when I tried to find the where they go here, they actually go right there. Just let me reposition here. Maybe I'll put the macro lens on. I'll show you. Yeah, it's all clear now. Okay, it's going to be really clear. If you remember, let me just turn this over so you can see the positioning pin. And it goes in that hole. And this is those stairs that California Paul was talking about. And did I scratch our superstructure here? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Okay. No, I think that after it's sort of a funny little angled stairway. It's sort of curved, isn't it? I hope I don't have to put a railing on it. I think what we can do is if we soften the hole really good with extra thin. Now we're going to have to paint the ladder first. Yeah, there's no question about it. The ladder, oops, it's here somewhere. The elusive ladder. Okay, I got it back. I think the thing to do would be to paint it first. Yeah, because I'd probably end up getting paint on the. I think that's going to fit okay. Once it drops into the hole, yeah, it'll have dropped down and it should match up pretty good, I would think. Maybe what I should do is take that and sort of pare that peg down just a little bit first, and then paint it. I think I'll probably paint it the same as the deck here, which is the 77. You know what? I just made a silly mistake. I went and nipped them off of the sprue. I should have left them on. And that way I would have had something to hold on to when I was painting. Now I'm going to have to try and grab hold of this little peg. If I didn't get it painted underneath, it wouldn't matter anyway, because it's going to be the underside, but still. Okay, I think I should be able to just use my self-locking tweezers here. Or maybe not. Okay, I think if I'm smart here, I will be holding these well over the model table. I will not try to do it on camera. And I'm just going to use my little brush here. I think if I'm very careful, I won't ping them out of the tweezer. That's the plan. Okay, I'm guessing it's about 15 minutes ago that I painted these up. And they're probably 75% dry. You can see they're wet there where the tweezer's fastening on. But I think once this paint shrink wraps, we're not going to have lost too much of the definition of the stairs. Now we've got our little life rafts here, or Carly floats, whatever you want to call them. And I had planned on using the rotator, and I know I've been talking about the rotator turns a little bit too fast and I'd like to slow it down, and I knew I could probably slow it down by using a resistor. And then when one of the viewers was talking about resistors, somehow it hit me. I've got these little resistors here. Now I don't know if they're heavy duty enough. I could always try one. The worst that could happen is I'll burn it out. There is 10 of them. So if I burn it out, well, then there'll be, uh-oh, my oven's calling me. We'll get back to this in a minute. Okay, I'm back. Where were we here? So what I'm going to do is experiment around and just see if I can't slow this down. Or, now that I've got this power supply, I can hook into it and see, what is the least voltage it takes to keep this thing running reliably. And then maybe I can use a flashlight battery. That might be all it'll take. It could be it'll run as little as 1.5 volts. But on the other hand, maybe it won't either. I think it has to have, I know what goes into it is 5 volts because it's USB powered. But whether a full 5 volts goes to the motor, yeah, that's another story. If you remember, I put that little light bulb in there to add for extra resistance because there wasn't enough resistance from the motor to keep the, or rather, if you know what I mean, to keep the battery pack from kicking off. I probably could bypass this amplifier thing. I don't need this anymore. And for those of you who were waiting for it, we did get a sunrise this morning. Nothing special, just nice. And yes, our walkers did show up. Now, if you will recall, I was talking about enlarging the pin or paring it down. Well, I did not do that. seem to be having a problem with this one. Do I have the wrong one? I've got the wrong one. Okay, let's try it again here. I don't think I need to re-moisten that hole. I just want to just get it down in there. Okay. Alright, let's just quit messing with it here. No. What did I do with it? Okay, I'm going to have to reposition. Or maybe not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to swing this whole thing around. Okay, I realize for you it looks pretty much the same as the last time you saw it, but for me it's turned around 180 degrees. Okay, don't mess with it. Now, I am noticing here, I was pretty sure that I had painted this, the number 77 along here, but it looks like possibly where the glue was on the inside of this bulkhead and ran down, it discolored it here. Or is that paint? Did I, oh, you know what? I'll bet you that's paint. I'll bet you I did that. I bet you when I was trying to paint the back of the bulkhead, I went down too far with the brush. Yeah, I did it on the other side as well. Well, I'm not going to try and fix that. I'd probably just mess it up worse. I'd probably go up the side of the bulkhead. Okay, here's what's happening. I'm going to call it quits for this afternoon. I want to work on this and try and slow it down. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm not going to video it. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next episode, I guess. And thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we will see you in the next episode.